Everybody, if you take your seat, we're going to go ahead and get this meeting started. All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. This is the City of Cottonwood Planning and Zoning Commission, regular meeting Monday, May 18th, 2026. Could we do roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Kennedy?
Present.
Commissioner Glasscott is absent. Commissioner Hellman?
Here.
Commissioner Rothrock?
Here.
Vice Chairman Comella is absent, and Chairman Garrison.
Present.
And we have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. Could we all stand and do the pledge, please? Where's our flag? There we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have no minutes to approve tonight, and we also have no old business, so we are going to jump right into new business. There's call to the public sheets in the back. If you so wish to get up and speak either about the items we'll be doing the hearings on or about something else, please get a sheet filled out so that when you come up to the podium we know who you are and we'll have the information for the record. Tonight we will be doing 3 different hearings, but we're going to do them all together, and then there will be 3 separate votes after we get done with all of our discussion and public comment. We will be public hearing GP 26002, which is a minor general plan amendment. We're going to be doing Z 26004, which is a zone change, and we will be doing conditional use permits CUP 26002 to deal with a conditional use permit hearing as well. So with that being said, so also you're going to have 3 minutes when you get up. Please try not to repeat what somebody else has said. Try and bring something new. We have a lot of sheets to get through tonight, and we would like to get them all done so we can get home at a reasonable hour. So please be prepared to speak. We will be calling the person up to speak, and also we'll let you know who's on standby so that hopefully we can move through the speakers a little bit quicker. So when you come up to the podium, you can address the board or the commission. We can't respond to you, but we can hear what you say, and if there's something that you bring up, we can always go back and talk to staff or the applicant about that matter, but we can't interact with you during your presentation. So with that, can we move on to the public hearings?
Thank you, Chairman Garrison. We could definitely do the public hearing ahead of time. Otherwise, I'm prepared to give my presentation first.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Garrison Commission. I'm Tina Hayden with Community Development, presenting on that general plan amendment, zone change, and conditional use permit applications for the Spring Verde apartments. For the project details, first I'm going to go and draw your attention to this image we have here. I'd like to point out that the area in the thin red line, there's 2 parcels that this project goes over, and it addresses these parcels. And then with the darker line, this is the project area where they're requesting the general plan amendment, zone change, and CUP. Also like to point out that we have State Route 89A here and 12th Street here. Just to help you orient yourself, this is the Wells Fargo property, this is the Harbor Freight property, and the project is south of those locations. The proposed project site is 8.81 acres. Applicants requesting a general plan amendment from highway commercial to residential high density for 5.6 acres. That's this parcel here. The land use designation for this parcel is already HR for high density residential. They're also requesting a zone change from C2 and R2 zoning to the R3 zoning district for 8.81 acres collectively here. Lastly, they're requesting a conditional use permit to allow for 3-story buildings with heights under 40 feet. The proposal could allow for up to 29 multifamily residential units per acre. They have not submitted a design review application at this time. This project would require design review approval prior to moving on to building permits. I gave you that zone change aerial. Now we're looking at a satellite aerial here just to help you get your bearings again. We've got 12th Street running here, 89A here. The project site is in this general area. To the west, we have single-family residential units, roughly 1 unit to the acre. As we're moving eastward to the south of the property, we have some 4-plexes, 5-plexes here. So multifamily residential. Moving further east, we have some more medium density multifamily residential here. And then we're rotating northward. We have the Food City Shopping Plaza here, Harbor Freight, Wells Fargo, and then other various commercial sites off or further to the west. I've got some current site photos for you. I'd like you to note the north arrow I have here to help you get your bearings. These images are from South 12th Street. So here we're looking at the Wells Fargo here, looking eastward. You can see a portion of the project site located here. On this bottom image, we're looking southwest. This is adjacent single-family residential, and that's the information we gathered from the county GIS. Kind of moving further south on 12th Street here. Again, please note that north arrow. We're looking south-ish here. You can see the project site here, some existing curb cuts here. And then on this one, we're looking kind of westward at the single-family residential. Again, you can see some of those existing curb cuts on that side. This is the last view of 12th Street, just further down. Here, I'd like to point out that we are looking northward on 12th Street. So we're looking at the property. You can see, some of the existing buildings over the shrubbery. And then this bottom one, again, we're looking southward. You can see the Ridgecrest townhomes over here, some additional curb cuts here for the single-family residential. This is an image from South 15th Street and East Skyline Drive near the Ridgecrest townhomes. This top one here, we're looking north at the project site, so you can see those existing RV structures there. On this bottom one, we're looking south at the Ridgecrest townhomes. Just want you to note that we've got single-family, single-story buildings there. And then this is a view from the Wells Fargo parking lot. So again, we're looking southward on both sides, trying to show you how the topography works and that it does drop down a bit from the Wells Fargo property. And then you can also see that rise up here on 12th Street. The applicant did provide site sections here. So these cut points are where these diagrams are showing. I will point out that they were inverted. So while 12th Street's running here, it's actually right here. And I just got a larger image for you to see. Again, we've got 12th Street here on the west side. Applicant is proposing 31 tall buildings to that roof line, 31-foot tall buildings to the roof line with additional 8-foot towers to total about 39 feet there. From 12th Street, you can see that only about 20 feet rises from that 12th Street grade. I'd like to point out this time that the site plan and renderings that we're seeing, they're all very preliminary, subject Staff has recommended additional code review for the applicant. They're still subject to the provisions of the zoning ordinance and our design standards. So this is the site plan. 12th Street runs this way. You've got to the north Wells Fargo and Harbor Freight. You can see where they're proposing 2 entries here and here, and then proposing 3-story buildings all along this perimeter. Again, still subject to design standards and zoning ordinance provisions. These are preliminary elevations. To the parapet, or to the highest point, I know it's really hard to discern, but that's 39 feet 2 inches that they have there. The conditional use permit request is less than 40 feet to the highest point of architecture that they're requesting. For the general plan amendment and the zone change, the applicant was required to have a neighborhood meeting. They held that meeting on April 14th, more than 30 days prior to this hearing date. 3 members of the public were in attendance. They cited concerns related to traffic, parking, privacy, and design. I'd also like to point out that since then we've heard from approximately 12 other members of the public. 11 of those were expressing dissent, citing the same concerns. And then we had 1 member of the public who actually was in support of the project, saying that this would provide for additional housing, that we need that supply. So for the general plan amendment, the justification is that the proposed land use designation is supported by the following goals and objectives. So staff does cite objective 1.5 regarding mixed use, and that we want to locate multifamily residential uses adjacent to neighborhood commercial designations and multimodal service areas. Goal 4 also says work towards making housing available and affordable for all who wish to live in Cottonwood. And objective 4.1 regarding housing availability further compounds that we want to improve the economic viability of potential housing developments and have that housing supply keep up with demand. I'd also like to point out that this project is within the general plan regarding infill and growth areas. I want to show that green area here is the project site. It's within an infill area with access to sewer and water. Regarding the zone change justification to R3, state law indicates the requirement for a rezoning ordinance to conform with the land use element of the general plan. If the general plan amendment is adopted by council, this project would conform with the land use element. It also allows for uses consistent with abutting properties, namely the ones to the south for the multifamily residential. Regarding a stipulation for the zone change, this is just a timeline due to the fact that the larger property is going to have dual zoning if the zoning ordinance is adopted. Staff is recommending a 90-day stipulation on that to give the applicant time to do the appropriate lot line adjustment or boundary adjustment, so that after 90 days, that property, that zone change, the R3 property, should be one whole parcel. And then justification regarding the conditional use permit findings. In order for the commission to approve the conditional use permit, they have to make the following findings. 1, regarding general findings, that the characteristics of the use shall not be detrimental. This proposal is still subject to design standards that addressed height differences in the design standards book that was just in effect April 17th. Regarding compatibility with surrounding uses, the use shall be compatible with surrounding uses. Abutting properties are either the same or of greater intensity than the proposed use. So to the south, we have multifamily residential, similar intensity. To the north and east, we have that commercial, which is a higher intensity. Zoning ordinance does address buffering requirements for adjacent use incompatibilities, namely between residential and non-residential uses. Lastly, regarding traffic and circulation, the use shall have adequate access and provision of on-site circulation. This project is subject to the provisions of the zoning ordinance and design standards. Additionally, the city engineer will require a traffic impact study, traffic impact analysis, and also indicates that ADOT permit approval would be required and could indicate additional measures to mitigate traffic impacts. If the commission desires to approve this, staff recommends these 3 stipulations. Just in summary, approval is granted to allow the 3-story buildings with heights less than 40 feet to the highest point of architecture. Design review approval is required prior to the issuance of building permits. Additionally, with conditional use permits, there's usually a 6-month time period on this. The stipulation 3 allows for this project to progress through the design review phase and building permit phase until completion. Staff does recommend that the commission make a recommendation approval to council for the general plan amendment and for the zone change. And staff also recommends approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding the conditional use permit for building height. These are all public hearing items. I'm prepared to answer any questions for you. I've got the applicant present to answer any questions. Just let me know when you need us.
Commissioner Hellman, do you have anything you'd like to ask staff?
Not at this moment, thank you.
Commissioner Kennedy?
The Ridgecrest units that are just south of there, is that an R2 or an R3?
Thank you for that question, Commissioner Kennedy. They are R2 zoning.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Commissioner Kennedy?
No,
No.
thank you.
Commissioner Rothrock, do you have any questions?
Not at this time.
All right, and I have none either. I read through the packet, it was pretty thorough. Does the applicant want to come up and talk about their project? We'd love to hear it. Could you state your name for the record, please?
Yes, sir. My name is Derek Balbergen. I work with CESO, working with the applicant, Mr. Bill Spring, and we're the civil engineer and also the architect for this project. We'll just be happy to answer any questions that any of the staff or the commission may have.
How long are the buildings? We know the height.
No, we're not, that's, he's not here to answer your questions tonight. Thank you. It looked like this is going to take over the whole area that used to be Lumberman's and has all the RV parking and the canopies and all that. All that's coming down?
Yes, so all the existing structures in that location will be removed.
And then does everything basically getting flattened because there's quite a bit of topography on that property still?
No, so the area adjacent to 12th Street, that will remain at the higher elevation. Coming a certain distance away from that, we will be putting in a retaining wall that is going to be a little bit more expensive, but it will allow us to push the buildings along 12th Street further down, thus resulting in, probably half the height that you'll probably see from 12th Avenue. And the elevation of that will generally slope away the project. So you'll have 2 entrances in off 12th Street that'll be going down to the site itself. So portions of it will remain high, but they won't be developed. They'll be natural grade and landscaped and so forth.
All right. Commissioner Hellman, do you have anything you'd like to ask the applicant?
Not at this time.
Commissioner Kennedy, do you have any questions for the applicant tonight?
Yes. Was there an additional access off of 89A?
No, the access off 89A is to Harbour Freight, and that's through commercial. They're going to be 2 separate owners, 2 separate parcels. So it'll be going through a commercial area. So
The only
that's
ingress
not-
egress will be on 12th Street?
Two entrances and exits off 12th Street.
Okay.
There'll be separate parcels.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Rothrock, do you have any questions for the applicant tonight?
Yes, can we skip the towers? It's already tall.
We can look at that. It's an architectural feature.
Sure.
Maybe, Pat, do you want to speak to that? This is Pat, an architect. You don't want to...
Yeah.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Yes, I'm Patrick McNabb. I'm with CESO, one of the architects on the project. We're at preliminary design, so the towers can be adjusted in height, yes.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, this is not design review tonight. So all we're doing is we're looking at the use of the property, looking at the use of the general area around it, and whether it's appropriate or not to change the zoning to allow a project of this sort to move forward, not necessarily what is being presented tonight. So,
Okay.
great. Any questions for the architect? Did that bring up any? Yeah, I'm also let you know, just since we'll get to it sooner or later anyway, I'm not necessarily a fan either of, the towers. I understand the want and the need to break it up and also hide your mechanicals and that kind of stuff. But it looks, right now, it's looking more like a hotel than an apartment complex. And I think also, the buildings that are there are probably 20, 22 feet anyway. So, the 30-foot is really not going to take you much a bit above existing. But that extra 9 feet really would be, even though it's not a consistent grade, it really would probably affect the view shed a little bit more than maybe would be appreciated by those having to look at it.
We've already talked about that in-house, yeah, changing some of that stuff.
Great, thank you very much. Any other questions before we move on? Yes, ma'am.
Have one more. I know in here it said somewhere how many units total it was.
252.
And so if you reduce it to two-story, how many units does that reduce it by?
Well, a third.
Okay. All right, thank you.
About 160. So. All right, we're going to go ahead. Thank you very much.
You got somebody.
Oh, you got another one. All right, come on up. Please state your name for the record.
William Spring, serve the worst for last. I am, with my wife Carol, am the developers of Spring Verde Apartments. We're 23-year residents of Sedona. We're local. Our last project was in Prescott, very successful Alta Vista Senior Apartments, independent living and assisted living, which met a big need over there. Spring Verde is directly in response to a study done by Cottonwood and Verde Valley a few years ago. That study showed a need for around 3,800 units of housing projected out. A lot. Our lender and HUD underwriter on our last project, who actually came to me to do this project here, they did their own market study and reached the same conclusion. Cottonwood is growing past its available housing. Cottonwood needs the housing to grow effectively. My lender previously financed your very successful Inspiration Apartments down the road, done by my buddy Bob Porter, also from Sedona. The new NAH, Northern Arizona Cancer Center, of which you're all aware, guys are already underway, just broke ground, and what I'm reading is 400 to 500 new employees. I talked to Rich Gray, the head of NAH, Verde Valley. He absolutely welcomes the project because by the time they're done and add the employees, they will need the housing on top of the other studies that have been done by Verde Valley and HUD of demand here. The site is a walk-to-work site, will be marketed as same. As you know, it's adjacent to 2 food-anchored shopping centers, all kind of retail, other stuff. The marketing will be done as a walk-to-work project, uniquely. And we can almost walk to the Cancer Center up Highway 89A. Finally, we've designed Spring Verde to have as minimal visual impact as possible. The project, some parts of it are 20 feet below 12th Street. That was done to minimally impact the people across the street instead of sticking the 40 feet up in the air. We're down, the whole project is down, and for water gradation, it goes down even further. That excavation added about $3.5 million to the cost of the project, just doing that to make it aesthetically more acceptable and less visible. Finally, when completed, we'll have the most amenity-rich project in the valley. You know, that's my pride. I do nice stuff. My pride is it'll be the nicest, got my name on it, mainly because I grew up near Spring Green, Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin. And when the gal asked me, what do you have for name? I go, Spring. I don't know, what? Verde. That's where the name came from, Spring Green, Wisconsin, where a famous architect had his place that you might know of. We think it'll be the nicest thing in the Verde Valley, amenity-rich, and a really nice place to live. That's it. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Do we have any questions for the applicant? Yes, Ms. Helen?
Could you tell me what your projected rent for each unit per one-bedroom, two-bedroom, three-bedroom? What are you?
For a market rent project, they'll run from about $1,150 a month up to $1,700 to $1,800 a month for two-bedroom. These are two-bedroom, two-bath, three-bedroom, two-bath, fairly good-sized units. And the three-bedroom, I think, would be around $2,000. We're looking to do about a quarter of it garages, like Inspiration did. Everything will be covered parking, solar. We'll put solar in for electric vehicles, but we're looking to have a good portion of it to actually be garages. These are places you live for a long time. Not like when I was growing up, it was a transient deal to be in an apartment. This is set up indoor-outdoor pool, gourmet kitchen, pickleball courts, all that kind of stuff. So it's a long-term residence.
And that rent does not include extra fees for club membership or pool access?
That's all included. That stuff's all included. Utilities, they pay, you know, standard paid utilities. Excuse, bronchitis. All the amenities are included part of the package. That's the luxury package. PB Bell wants to manage it. They manage Inspiration. They're one of the best builder managers in the valley.
Ms. Kennedy, do you have any questions for the owner? Mr. Rothrock, do you have any questions for the owner?
Nope, thank you.
We're good. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming up. We're going to go ahead and open the floor to call to the public. Once again, you will have 3 minutes. When you come up to the podium, please speak your name so that we get it right for the record. We're going to call a name and we're going to call up who's on base. So be prepared to come up. We cannot interact with you. This is your opportunity to speak to us and tell us your concerns. And then we will close the floor of the public and go back to the applicant possibly one more time before we have our own discussion. So, Mr. Rothrock, please.
Karen Mavko. Karen, are you here? Mavzulo. Okay.
Let's say. And who's after that?
Followed by David Ayala.
Thank you. Mark Mazzulo, yeah.
I get 5 extra minutes.
We'll wait till you get ready to start the time.
Check.
Thank you for giving me the time to respond to this. And thank you, neighbors, for coming out regardless of which side you're on. I'm in opposition to this. I live on 12th Street, South 12th Street. I thought the pictures were kind of interesting. It looked like nobody lived anywhere on 12th Street.
Clerk.
I'll be as brief as I can. Okay, as far as mitigating traffic, I think that's a load of baloney. Okay, it's not going to mitigate anything. We have one accident. Is this working?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We have one accident over by Jack 12th Street, okay? Once South 12th Street was paved, what was it? 8, 9 years?
Can't hear.
Oh.
It's on.
Once South 12th Street was paved about 8 years ago, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, once it was paved about, I don't know, what was it, 8 or 9 years ago, okay, we had more traffic on South 12th Street than anybody could ever even think about. And now you're going to add 252 units with 415 parking stalls, and you think that you're going to mitigate traffic by putting 2 entrances and exits? I don't think so. Okay? And what are you going to do about other infrastructure like water? Okay? I can talk louder than your mic. Okay. Okay. All right. And so what are you going to do about the water? Do you think that when you put all those units in there that I'm not going to have problems with water trickling out of my faucets? I don't think that's not going to happen. Okay, and I want to know what you're going to do about that when that starts to happen. And don't you people from Sedona and whatever any other places that you come from are going to tell me that something like that's not going to happen. And as far as turning it into an R3, I don't want that to happen in this community. And I don't know why you picked the area that you picked, but if you want to mitigate things, people can walk from over by Cove Parkway and behind the Safeway area where there's huge amounts of room where you can build. Okay, and people can walk to work from there as well.
Ma'am, you need to talk to the commission, please,
Oh,
not the
I'm sorry.
applicant.
Okay, I'm just doing it because I can't even hear myself in here. At any rate,
You're doing good.
okay, there are other places that you can build that aren't going to make a huge burden on areas that are already well built with lots of infrastructure that's going to be inhibited and imposed upon. We don't need that many more people in our area. It's not only going to affect South 12th Street, it will affect North 12th Street. And I'll leave it up to the people who just moved into those really nice places right next to them to speak their piece, because I'm sure they're not going to be happy about it either. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Go ahead and call the next one. I'm going to call the-
David Ayala, followed by William Drake.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Ayala. In June of 2020, I purchased my property at 654 South 12th Street, directly across the street from the subject property. I am a former professional athlete and a retired law enforcement officer from California. I have lived in 3 countries and 4 states. I was looking for property for 2 years in Prescott, thinking that was going to be where I was going to spend my retirement years until I found the beautiful little town of Cottonwood. And then I found the perfect property for me on 1.16 acres, exactly what I was looking for in leaving the congestion of Southern California. The past 6 years have been amazing, and I couldn't ask for better neighbors with Barbara Walker on the north of me and Will and Becky Drake on the south. I have very proudly renovated the entire house and am now working on the exterior of the property with a pool and spa presently being constructed. The eastern view of the Sedona Mountains was a major selling point of the property, and now we are facing the worst possible nightmare in a rezoning consideration for high-density residential property directly across the street from me. In my short 6 years here, I have made a bit of an impact on the community in that I play in a pretty popular local music group called Soulshine. The high visibility of my property on 12th Street is pretty well known by many business owners and friends of the band who have found out where I live and have complimented the work I have done on my property. The friends that I have spoken to about this present issue are dumbfounded, as they utilize 12th Street as everybody else does in town and are aware of the growing traffic problem that is already increasing without the requested rezoning. In closing, it should be seriously obvious to everyone here that I would have never considered buying my house if I knew that the present situation was even a remote possibility. And I am wholeheartedly wishing and hoping that this does not happen to 12th Street. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
William Drake, followed by Rebecca Drake.
Good evening. I had a lot just today. But
Please state your name for the record, please.
My name's William Drake.
Thank you,
I
sir.
live in Cottonwood on 12th Street. I keep hearing two driveways. One of them happens to be right in front of my house. And I know about traffic on Cottonwood, whether it's morning, noon, or night. When they did the 12th Street project, one of the things that was discussed that 12th Street was going to turn into a drag strip. Drag strip is an understatement. It is the least patrolled area of Cottonwood I've ever seen. We got people going 50, 60, 70 miles an hour down that road. Adding 252 units to it is a joke. It's offensive. I lose my views, my sunsets, my moonrises, Red Rock, the desert views. It's going to be gone. We spent good money buying that land, building that property, and maintaining it. And because some developer decides he's going to throw up 252 units on a property that one of the portions, if it were not rezoned, would only bear 27 units, and the other portion of that property that would be approved by the rezoning isn't supposed to bear 0 units. The gentleman that purchased this property bought the property knowing fully well that what he wanted to erect wouldn't happen. He didn't have the zoning for it. And so the fact that you guys are going to change the zoning so this guy can build this behemoth in front of our homes and our property, to me, I'm disgusted by it. I'm not the only person impacted. The traffic on 12th Street is outrageous, and I don't know how you're going to fix that. I'm done. Thanks.
Thanks, sir.
Rebecca Drake, followed by Mary Shaquin.
Good evening. Could you please state
My
your
name is Rebecca Drake. I live at 678 South 12th Street.
Thank you.
I've lived at the 12th Street house for 18 years, and we moved to Cottonwood 30 years ago. And as my husband just mentioned about the zoning, we knew what the zoning was. And the zoning, we abide by the zoning, and people might say through the years, oh yeah, you know, we don't know what's going to go on over there across the street, but you should pay attention to the zoning. It's like, okay, well, we're happy with it. Like my husband said, the R2, the maximum 11 units per acre, they could have 27 units there. Okay, the zoning, the C2, 0 houses, 0. And so you want to change from 27 and allow, even consider 252 units that are not even currently allowed by the current zoning? I don't know. Anyway, so let me get back to my work, my pages. This project is too dense, and it diminishes our small town rural atmosphere, and it's not consistent with the city. And all of you guys so diligently promote for our cherished tourism. You know, it's small town, rural, not this dense thing with, so the buildings are 40 feet high, and I can't tell how long they are on the details I have. They look like they could be 300 feet long. I don't know, that was a question to the developer. They're 200 feet, 300 feet, and if you notice, they're all positioned at the perimeter of the parcel's boundary lines, so they're taking up the biggest amount of space possible to block everybody, and then putting the parking in the middle. But I don't want any of them there. It doesn't matter where they'd be positioned on the lot. Why have zoning laws if they're so easily changed? You know, and if you're willing to change these zonings so extreme, because we're an acre, we're very low density, and yet you're putting high density right across the street. That's not consistent with things I read on the website and how things should be. Sure, we have our very low density agricultural residential zoning. you should make a transition. And we're all perfectly fine, and the other houses across the street have been there in Crestview, that's fine. They're not, but 500 to 600 people living in that area, all trying to exit onto 12th Street, back and forth, when it's already, that's where it gets kind of backed up the most, one of the places where it can be backed up, and yet you're going to dump all that right in that center. I'm sorry, I don't want this project to happen, and and that's what I'm seeing in my head. It's not going to happen. So, let's see what else I got here. Just the fact that we have to watch out and defend our property and our property values, and oh gosh, and why should one person get a benefit to make money while all of us are going to lose value in our homes? Because when they come in and appraise your house, they tell you, oh, you're on a busy street, or, oh, I see those buildings over there. Now, mega apartment complex. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
$1,000 at least.
Thank you.
Mary Shaquin, followed by Heather White.
Mary Shaquin, I'm the Executive Director of the Verde Valley Community Development Organization, and actually I'm speaking in favor of the project. I'm speaking in favor of the need for housing, not only in Cottonwood, but in the Verde Valley. The studies have identified that we need multifamily housing. We need to house the people who live here. The experience is nobody's ever happy when there's more affordable housing put in place. The community has approved a general plan that allows for infill on properties exactly like that. We have a cancer center that we're very excited about building. We need a place to house the employees, or there won't be a cancer center. I think the other thing to keep in mind is that when a lot of the housing studies were done, we looked at multifamily and single family and things like that. The statistics and dynamics have changed. People can't afford a single-family house until they're 40 or 50 in many cases today, which has changed the very dynamic of needing multifamily units. I'd like to point out to the commission at the last project I was presenting at, the commission talked about not putting housing on top of a hill, and that was the Westcott property. This developer has actually made the effort to go 20 feet below the street level, which I think speaks to, looking at some of that high density and not going to the 3-story level. We just need an increased quantity of housing. And like I said, everybody's always against having it near their house, but we have property rights and people need to be able to build on some of the property, and we can't always govern what other people own. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker, please.
Heather White, followed by Brenda Eldred.
Good evening. My name is Heather White, and as many of you know, I grew up here. I've seen the decisions that have been made throughout the years, good and bad, and I've seen the lack of vision that both the city has had, as well as planning and zoning. And so I just want to make sure that every detail is thoughtfully considered when you guys go to make a decision. So last time I spoke about NACOG, and I understand that the developer said that the lady that spoke before the developer said that they were going to go and look through, go to ADOT and present everything and make sure all the boxes are checked. But I do want to remind everybody, there's still those 6,000 cars that are going down 12th Street on a daily basis, and that's according to NACOG. And with the 252 units, that puts an undue burden on the people that already live in that area as far as traffic and accidents. The second point that I'd like to make is I heard two conflicting words being used tonight, affordable and luxury. So my question is, which one is it? Because the definition of affordable is reasonably priced or inexpensive enough for a person or household to comfortably purchase or maintain without causing financial hardship. In addition, we are in a free market. So the developer is not contractually obligated to ensure that the price that he spoke of tonight maintains. He's not contractually obligated to only charge people $1,200 a month. Take a look at Inspiration. They promised everybody it was going to be affordable housing. The cheapest apartments in there are around $1,700 a month. That's before all the fees. That's before they charge you the water fee or the utility fee and the trash fee and the application fee, and don't worry, there's a key fee, and the list goes on and on. As far as luxury goes, if we're looking for, or if the luxury is really what, I'm sorry, if luxury apartments is really what the developer is going towards, that poses another issue. Because currently, we are bringing in, the majority of people that move here are 62 years old. And so if they're saying, well, it's walkable to work, well, tell me what what Fry's employee, what Harbor Freight employee can afford to live in a luxury apartment. I bet you the list is very, very short. So again, I think we're putting the cart before the horse here. We're trying to build and we're not thinking ahead. And so I just want everybody to really take into consideration the details. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Brenda Eldred. Followed by Chris Archer.
I'm Brenda Eldred, and I live on 12th Street. Been there almost 35 years. I've seen a lot of changes, a lot of new neighbors with homes and stuff. I'm going to bring this up here to show you. I see a guy like him in my trees in the evenings, and I knew when I moved there, and it was Babbitt's Lumber before it was Lumberman's, there were mating owls in the rafters of the lumberyard and then in those trees. So be mindful about the requirements when they do any construction, that they're not having their babies when that happens. Another thing that I just wanted to bring up is that I walked my neighborhood talking to my neighbors, and a lot of them didn't want to come. Kind of the consensus I was getting is that this process is very intimidating. And honestly, you guys wield a lot of power to impact our lives. And we have been dealing with so much traffic. We've got Camino Real. It's an old historic Highway 279, and they close that off to left-hand turns. So we've got people coming from Unit 6 and 7 diverted onto our street. We also get people using it off of 260 and Main Street as a bypass. So that's where we're getting a lot of traffic. And to add more, it's just incredible. I know I heard the word compatible. Well, compatible would be a single level or maybe a 2-level. And the people that are in favor of this, I don't know, but I don't think they live on our street. And I don't know that they use it. They may live in our neighborhood, but on the east side of Verde Palisades. Additionally, a lot of people have dogs. And with 250 units, I'm sure it's going to be more than one person per unit. We don't have that many neighbors right now, but we're cleaning up a lot of dog crap on our street because they're walking them and pooping them and they don't pick up after it. So you're going to add more people. I know there's going to be more dogs with it. And this isn't fair to us. It really isn't. And I'm just pleading with you to not make this change. So I'm going to yield. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you listening to me.
Chris Archer, followed by Vicki Church.
Hi, my name's Chris Archer. I'm an 8-year Cottonwood resident. I'm going to give a couple of opinions to start off, but the majority of my presentation will be stats. I hope you'll get all the stats in the minutes because they're all publicly available stats. I support the comments about traffic concerns completely. We see how the traffic backs up from Main all the way past 12th Street in the mornings. And I also support the comments about being a walkable place to live. If you know anything about Cottonwood, Cottonwood residents don't walk anywhere unless you live and work in Old Town. So that's the last of my comments. The rest of this is a bunch of stats that are basically available anywhere you care to search. So the city housing stock currently is between 7,200 and 7,300. Now that's split between owner-occupied and renter-occupied. Currently, owner-occupied is 53.6%, renter-occupied 46.4%. Vacant units right now, 8.9%. That's between 640 and 650 units of that total currently vacant. Population growth 21 to 26 is approximately 0.9%. Going back as far as 2010, that's 16 years, the population in Cottonwood's grown by 80 households. That's approximately split between owner-occupied and renter-occupied. Currently, there's 77 rental properties available. 5 available at Inspiration, and I looked at Inspiration because it seems like it's a similar luxury type property. The city is in desperate need of affordable accommodation. This applicant doesn't fit that bill or even close. As was stated, at Inspiration, they start from around $1,700 a month, plus extras. So you're looking at somewhere around $2,000. And it looks like I'm running out of time. Based on the lowest available rent at Inspiration, $1,700, you'd need to earn $64,400 as a household to qualify. Cottonwood median household income right now is $48,000. So not many people would be able to afford that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Vicky Church.
That's it.
All right.
Hello, my name is Vicky Church. I just learned about this about 2 hours ago, so I'm not very prepared. But I wanted to try to add a little bit of comments. I think that the high density is too much for that area. I think 12th Street is not equipped to handle that much more traffic, in my opinion. I don't use it all of the time, but even when you pull out, as I would, to turn left to go towards AutoZone, the traffic coming that direction is heavy. And, you know, you have to wait to get out, and I'm not even there during the heaviest times that it probably gets used. And then to imagine all of that traffic has to flow out onto that road is a lot. The development that's just up the road from this proposed development, I think is great. It looks very nice, it's very low-key, well done. Something like that would be beautiful there, and I feel like they could still get quite a bit of space in there. But as far as the luxury aspect of it, I mean, it's great to have all those amenities and so forth, but I will say that we own a business, and I feel that we pay our employees well. We have a lot of younger employees that did live in this area, but many of them have had to move because they can't afford the rent. They can't afford Inspiration. You know, if they have 2 kids and have a 3-bedroom apartment, it's not affordable. I mean, it was very exciting when they first said, oh, they're going to build that. Well, our guys are having to move down to the Anthem area to work, which isn't great, or not to work, but to live. And that's problematic. And you don't want to lose viable employees. And luckily, we're able to keep them employed, even though they're having to live that far away. But that's a valid concern. So if they are to build something, I feel like keeping it the most affordable as possible is essential if we really want to provide affordable housing. And I think there are concerns about also sewer. I know our sewer system's already strained. Water would be a concern, but I think mostly it's just the density. The density is definitely, I think, problematic, and cost. So maybe not quite so luxury, not so many, more affordable, maybe that would work.
Thank you very much. Are there any other people who would like to speak? If not, we're going to go ahead and close the floor to the public. All right, we're closing the floor to the public. Thank you. Commissioners, you heard the comments. Commissioner Hellman, do you have any questions for staff or the applicant? Commissioner Kennedy, do you have any further questions for either the applicant or staff?
I do not.
Commissioner Rothrock, do you have any questions? You always do.
Yeah. I'm curious about the viability of R2 rather than R3. Would that, how would that affect the...
You want to talk to the applicant, or you want to talk to staff?
Both.
Well, we can only have one up the mic at a time. Who would you like to talk to? Tina, could you please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's have Tina start.
Thank you for that question, Commissioner Rothrock. Regarding the R2 zoning district, that typically allows anywhere from 6 to 11 units to the acre, whereas the R3 zoning district is going to allow anywhere from 12 up to 29 units to the acre.
Okay. So I'm more concerned with the 12 to 29 units per acre with the R what? R3?
3.
R3, correct.
Uh-huh. And R2 is?
As I said, 6 to 11 units to the acre.
Okay. And the math I did was that it would change it from 252 to 188 units. Is that, would that be correct?
I'd have to run the numbers to confirm that. We can
No.
definitely get that information later.
Okay.
No, you'd be around 80, in the 90-ish area if you were to get 11 per acre on 8 acres. So less than 100.
Uh-huh. All righty. Thank you.
I'm good. Thank you.
I do have a question for staff. I noticed in the packet that at one of the neighborhood meetings, the question of basically the same thing we've heard tonight, some of those questions were raised, and the applicant or the presenter said something about another organization could come in and use this property and create more traffic than the units that they want to build in that place. Has the city seen any interest in this property from anyone else? I mean, in the last 3 or 4 years, do you know, Tina?
Thank you for that question, Commissioner Hellman. Within the last 3 or 4 years, I have not seen any proposal for that site. I did attend the neighborhood meeting, and I believe he was indicating that as it's zone C2, a big box commercial store could go in, operating, between, AM, 10 a.m. to PM, 10 p.m. And I'd leave it to the applicant to compound on that.
Oh, I have another question.
Are you good? Great, thank you. Yes, sir.
Does the city routinely talk to ADOT when something like this is going to occur, where an intersection is going to receive a bucket full of traffic, and what ADOT might be able to do about it?
Thank you for that question, Commissioner Rothrock. At the code review meeting, the city engineer's comments do indicate that this project will require ADOT approval for both entrances due to the proximity of the signal at 12th Street and SR 89A. Typically, when ADOT approval is required, staff at the design review level, staff will stipulate that ADOT permit approval is required prior to the issuance of building permits to confirm if there's any changes to the site plan and also to confirm what that level of off-site improvement is.
I see that, yeah. Well, that's a bit reassuring.
Any other questions?
Not right now.
Do we have any other questions?
I have some questions.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see any retention areas for drainage. I know that this parcel sits directly west of the drainage that runs down towards or behind Safeway. How is that being addressed? There was recently an article in the Verde Independent about the sewer treatment plant being out of date. I'm wondering how this is going to affect the sewer treatment plant, how you're addressing any of those issues. I mean, these people have a lot of concerns about those issues as well as I do. I've been here for 40 years myself, so.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Kennedy. Regarding additional comments from the city engineer, he says that this project will require a drainage study. With that study, that's where he'll be able to indicate in the civil and grading permits, what's necessary to accommodate or mitigate that drainage. So there will be additional eyes on this. Regarding the capacity for utilities, bear with me while I refer to the utility department's comments from the code review meeting. He typically just says where the water and sewer lines are, doesn't allude to anything regarding the capacity. So that's something I can look further into with utilities and get more information as far as capacity allowances.
Okay. Previously, I have asked for storm drain diagrams, like if there's underground storm drains. I realize there's a storm drain system on Mingus that runs down to the retention pond at the bridge. Are there currently any underground storm drains in this area? Things that were installed when the 12th Street project was done? Is there anything like that?
Thank you for that question, Commissioner Kennedy. That would be a question suitable for our city engineer. Unfortunately, he's not here at this meeting. I can look to get some more information regarding that as well.
Any other questions?
No, I'm done.
Great, thank you. And I have none, thank you very much. All right, this is our chance to round out your thoughts and let the applicant know how you feel and staff knows. Keep in mind that we are not approving a design, we're not approving a layout. We have a rough draft of an idea of a concept that may be pursued by the applicant, but whatever comes from these hearings will put the developer on the path to creating a design that will, at that point, come back to us for those types of considerations of storm drains and drainage and retention and building design and parapets and that type of stuff. Today, what we're really discussing is taking 2 mismatched parcels and creating R3 out of them, which would give the applicant or the owner of the property the ability to pursue up to 29 units per acre should he decide to do that. It doesn't mean he will. It just opens the door for that possibility. So remember, that's where we're at. We're not approving this. We're approving the concept of this. But things can change between these hearings and when that comes back for design approval. So if you've got questions or concerns for either the applicant or staff, this would be your chance to make those
Yeah,
clear.
I have a question for the applicant, please. Somebody, one of you, I don't remember which one, stated that when you grade the property, that the units along 12th Street would be lower and not much higher than the buildings that are currently there. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, the height of the buildings we talked about are going to be no more than 40 feet, and from 12th Street down to the finished floor elevation is around 20 feet further down. The existing buildings that are there, I think, were mentioned to be to the apex of the building itself were quite tall, could be up to 20 feet itself. So the current, I would say, sheds that are there are quite tall.
And then as you move toward the east on the property, the buildings would be taller. I mean, so it goes up like that? Is that how it?
The site itself generally flows from the west to the east, so going across the highest point will be from the west against 12th Street, but once again, the finished floor will be lower than 12th Street, somewhere around 20 feet, and the height of the buildings heading further east will be lower than that because the whole site slopes that way, and that's where all the stormwater is going to drain to in that direction.
Okay, so the units along the east of the property will not be higher. If you're looking at it from 12th Street, you won't see steps going up. You'll see it
No,
going
ma'am.
down.
It'll go down.
Okay.
There'll be a lower elevation. So the finished floor for a number, if say it's 100 against 12th Street, further down it'll be 90, 95 or something. So it'll be further down.
Okay. Thank you.
Tina, can you pull that elevation up real quick? I think it might make it a little clearer. There we go. Does that make sense? Do you see what he's talking about now?
Yeah. I don't know, I don't know if this is a question you can even answer, but is there another location you would consider for this project?
Oh, that's definitely a question for the applicant. For Bill.
If you're going to talk, you need to talk from up here. Sorry. We have to record it. Thank you. Could you state your name one more time for us, please?
William Spring.
Thank you.
This is a result of about a year-and-a-half search to find a site of any size that wouldn't be, 5-unit, 10-unit, and so on, that also would be financeable by HUD, which is the primary lender for these kinds of projects. Very difficult. Some of them are extremely difficult sites that would have huge amount of infill and balancing problems and so on when you look at it as a civil engineer. It also is a site that, if you look at it, is kind of ground central between Home Depot, Walmart going out one way, Northern Arizona Health the other direction, and Old Cottonwood. So it's kind of equidistant from all those things, which is really, from my perspective, a really good thing, instead of out someplace on the edge of town. And we realize, I understand, I had a house built across the street from me in Sedona. It's a pain. It is a flat-out pain in the butt, but it is something responsive to housing needs here in this town for this town to grow. I mean, has been conveyed to me by other planners and so on and so forth. So, and we have two different demand studies confirming it, yours as well as HUD's. So it's very difficult. You do this, our broker was Miss Esther Talbot, who's been here for forever. Esther, probably one of the best land persons I know, to find it after a year and a half looking. Also, as a formerly fully licensed broker in this state, actually in terms of property values, it was mentioned, actually having industrial park and old metal buildings across from your home is perceived from most appraisers as a negative compared to other residential. That would be a step up in terms of abutting property values from what you currently have. Okay. Many appraisers would agree with that. That's it. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Thank you. So do you have any closing thoughts or comments?
Well, I guess my closing thoughts are, it seems like the biggest concern is the density. It seems like, to me, the look of the property it's not going to affect the neighbors as much as it seems like it would because of the gradation of the property. So it's the density and the traffic. The density affects the traffic. So I think that's where the biggest concerns are.
No, we're not doing that. Thank you. Commissioner Kennedy, do you have any closing thoughts?
I do. I'm probably not going to score a lot of points here, but here goes. I am new to this game. I know there's a lot of really smart people that did all these housing studies and think that we have a housing crisis in Cottonwood. I think there must have been a memo that went out promoting high-rise apartment complexes in town. I feel like the zoning change is putting the cart before the horse. I believe this is a complete disregard, as some of the previous projects we've looked at, for the integrity of these long-established neighborhoods and the existing property owners and taxpayers. We have issues such as sewer treatment, water, streets, drainage, traffic. All of these are wrapped up into this one project, unfortunately, and all of which I feel need to be addressed before we consider more units. I mean, there's a lot of building permits that have been approved and a lot of units that are still unbuilt. There's areas in town where the sewer smell is so bad, you can't even sit outside in your yard in the evening, and this is right in town. All of these are serious concerns, and although I'm not anti-growth, I believe there's a time to catch up. Like maybe we should take a reprieve. I know we're not going to have a building moratorium, but there you have it. I'm done.
All right. Commissioner Rothrock, your concerns and comments, please.
Well, my concerns are traffic. I think we need to get some really good people from our town and from ADOT to figure out what's going to be happening there at 12th Street and 89A. However, I think this is a good project. I like that the way that it's down in that low depression there. If you're going to have buildings that are tall, it's nice to put them down low and so as not to create an eyesore. And I also like a lot that there's the opportunity for people to live there, who live there, to be able to walk to places. you don't see too many people walking in Cottonwood, and maybe it's has to do with the way the city has evolved over time. And this, in a location like this, people can leave their homes, go shopping, go to the park, and do a lot of things. I think that's a good quality of life issue. Thank you.
All right, my comments. Don't know quite where to start. One of the, if you remember right, you know, these things come full circle. This isn't a project that just popped out of thin air, that wasn't forecast to us as we spent over a year going through the general plan update. You'll remember that housing and infill were two of the primary concerns of that general plan update, and how we were going to continue to evolve as a town and take care of not only the residents of today, but the residents of tomorrow, and do it in a meaningful manner, a polite manner, try to fit in as best can be fit in. And so, you know, some of the comments that came up tonight were talking about how can you allow this to happen? How can you change zoning? That's what zoning is. That's why we're having public hearings. Zoning works that way. You don't know back when these plots were first laid out what the zoning was going to be in that area. The houses across the street are in AR 43. That's a subdivision that was set up specifically for that. But now that the legislature has taken on Airbnb as well as ADUs, accessory or auxiliary dwelling units, you can now put 3 houses on each of those lots where you currently have 1. So you may have 3 neighbors next to you pretty soon, and there's absolutely nothing that you're going to be able to do about it or the town can do about it because it is allowed by law now. So things change. Everything changes. I hear concerns about traffic. I remember when I lived in the only house that was on 12th Street. Everybody that's moved into that area made my life worse by adding traffic to that street. So, you know, traffic is what it is. The worst thing we have going for us is that Verde Village units 6, 7, feed into 12th Street, unfortunately, because it's the easiest way to get out of the Verde Villages and on to 89A, depending on which way you want to go, either left or right when you hit the light at 12th Street. We're going to have a grocery store, not a grocery store, we're going to have a gas station on the other corner here pretty soon. So ADA is going to have to come around and figure out how we're going to fix that intersection because it already doesn't work, and the existing uses that are being added to it are also going to cripple it a little more. It's not really our place to decide if there's water, if there's sewer. The drainage, that is up to staff. Staff had their meetings on this property. They gave their comments. If they had concerns about the sewer plant being able to handle this project, they would have said so. Same thing with the water company and same thing with the drainage. And this will also go to county. It'll have to be part of the flood plan. So they will also have a word when we get back to the point of actually doing a design. But today, all we're truly doing is looking at taking a piece of industrial use property as well as a piece of R2 property and combining those into what can be R3 so that the developer can go in and do an infill project in a piece of property that has been, in my eyes, it's been a blight for decades now. It's never been good. And if you think 250 apartments across the street from you is a hazard or is going to be a noise problem, you weren't here when Lumberman's was there, because I can tell you what it sounded like having trucks and saws going from 6 in the morning till 6, 7 o'clock at night, and I could hear it at my house, and I'm blocks from here. So things change. We want to make them change appropriately, mindfully, and You know, is 29 units an acre too much? Could be, but I can tell you 11 units per acre in that area is probably not appropriate at this time. So I think we have to move forward and give the applicant the opportunity to come back with something that is appropriate not only for them but for the community, and hopefully it will be done with the comments that have come from this commission as well as the comments that came from the public. So with that, I have nothing else to say. Does anybody else have one last shot? If not, we'll move on with a motion.
I'd like to say something. You said anybody.
We can't, no, sir, you had your chance to, you already had your chance to speak. Go ahead, Commissioner Rothrock.
I move to recommend approval to council for Z 26004 for a zone change for a portion of the subject parcels to the R3 multiple family residential zoning district with the stipulation indicated in the staff report.
Do I have a second?
I second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Rothrock, or Commissioner Rothrock. We have a second by Commissioner Hellman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Opposed. We have a 3-to-1 vote that passes. Thank you very much. Item number 2, sir.
I move to approve CUP-26-002 to allow the proposed multiple family residential development to exceed the allowed building height based on the findings and subject to the stipulations indicated in the staff report.
Do we have a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Opposed. We have a 3-to-1. Thank you. Last item, sir.
I move to recommend approval to council for GP-26-002 for a minor general plan amendment to the HR residential high density for the portion of the subject parcel that is currently designated HC highway commercial.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Opposed. We have 3-to-1 once again. Keep in mind that these are only recommendations that will move forward from Planning and Zoning Commission to the council. The council will be hearing all this one more time, and at that point, they will either give their approval or their dissent. So this is just moving it down the process and gives the council the opportunity to speak on it. So please stay tuned, pay attention. It will be on a future council meeting agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item we have on our agenda, although we're going to wait a second, let everybody leave. Good luck. Yeah. Thank you very much for being here, gentlemen.
You didn't write all that down that you spoke to, huh?
Hmm?
You didn't have to write all that down that what you spoke to.
No, and I've just got so many things in my head, it's just hard to get it all out, you know?
Yeah.
I forget things, so.
And then, yeah, that's, I'd have had to have all that written down. Man.
Thank you for being here. All right, we will have informational items from staff. If there are any people that would like to speak at call to the public, please have your form filled out before the staff gets done making their report. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Commissioners. Sammy Real, Director of the Community Development Department. I have just a couple of items to update you on. First, on tomorrow's City Council agenda, the City Council will be discussing a handbook for the boards and commissions. So if and when that is approved, there'll be additional training and that Those handbooks will be made available to you as well, so look for more information on that. I also wanted to remind you, you should have received notice that we're having a joint meeting with the City Council, the Historic Preservation Commission, and the Planning and Zoning Commission on the Old Town Master Plan, and that meeting is scheduled for July 14th. And then last but not least, we are in need of a member for our Board of Adjustments. We had 3 members. We had 1 person resign, so we currently do not have a quorum for our Board of Adjustments. And we have an application that needs to go before the Board of Adjustments. So if any of you are willing to volunteer for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to sit on the Board of Adjustments, please let us know.
Did Lindsay, I believe Chairman Maston was going to apply for that. Do you know if she is still?
Oh, I don't know.
Don't know yet. Okay, thank you.
I received the applications and I haven't received one from her yet, but I could reach out to her and see if she's interested.
I think that would be great. I think she had an interest in that, and I think that'd be appropriate for her. I think she'd like it.
All right, thank you.
Question, could you repeat again what's on the agenda for July 14th?
So July 14th will be the combined meeting that we're going to have with the consultants that were hired to do the Old Town Master Plan. So that joint meeting is going to be with all of the City Council members, the Historic Preservation Commission, and also Planning and Zoning. We're trying to accomplish it all at once to be, 1, efficient, and then 2, to allow everybody to have a conversation together.
Thank you.
Chair and Commission, the Fun Police is here. I just want to remind everyone that the informational reports and updates isn't a time for back and forth discussion. Of course, you can ask her to clarify. If you would like to discuss these sorts of things in the future, all we need to do is specifically agendize them.
Great, thank you. All right, I guess that closes our informational reports and updates. It doesn't look like we have any members of the public who wish to speak to us that haven't already left. So I think we're good there. So we'll go ahead and close the floor to the public. And then topics for future meetings. Did any of the commissioners have any items that they would like to talk about in the future? Ms. Hellman.
Well, I know last time I'm pretty sure we asked for maybe some guidelines from staff on the new design. Am I remembering right? You're stating it right? We asked for maybe some training or?
Yeah, I think we'd asked if we could figure out how to put together some type of a short informational presentation, just to give us a clue of what we're talking about when we talk about the design standards and now that they've changed.
Right.
It was mentioned once again tonight about the design of the buildings, and I think we're all kind of just trying to figure out what does and doesn't fit. And I know that tonight we weren't discussing design, we were discussing zoning, but it will come back to us at some point. It would be nice to be a little more prepared than we currently feel, and I'm glad I'm not the only one, so thank you. Commissioner Kennedy, you have any items you'd like to put on the agenda? Commissioner Rothrock, go ahead.
I think of them after the meeting.
Yeah, I know, that's driving home.
Well, I'd like to see us sit down and talk about some of the issues that Commissioner Kennedy was alluding to, that we have a lot of balls in the air right now. I personally feel that slow growth is a lot safer than fast growth, and I feel that Cottonwood is growing very quickly, and I don't think that leads to a good end or maybe the kind of town that we want to live in. So I'd like to knock some ideas around on that vein.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is there, I know our joint meeting with the council is designed to prepare for the Old Town study, but I think at some point it would be nice to have a meeting with the council to kind of figure out those questions that seem to fall on our laps, and it isn't our place to be worried about those things so much. It is definitely the council's problem, We do get a fairly thorough report on the, what do you call that group? Your pre-planning group, Tina, what's? Code review. So code review does go through this pretty fine. They have very thorough, in some cases, comments on what is and is not allowed. But I think, and I read them all the time because they tend to have some nuggets in them that I may have missed otherwise. So it helps me think through kind of the issues you were talking about. But at the end of the day, we don't really get to talk about sewer or water or any of those issues. That really falls on the council. So it would be nice to maybe have a little more comfort when those items get presented to us and we see projects like this, because I think what Commissioner Kennedy and Commissioner Rothrock said were valid. I think it makes it a little more muddled for us to make a decision when we have those thoughts that we may be putting the horse in front of the cart in front of the horse, and overextending an opportunity instead of maybe pulling it back and asking for better thinking. But as I said to the public tonight, and I tried to remind the commissioners, we were not discussing a design tonight. That will come back. We just opened the door for a higher density than what was currently proposed for that property or currently allowed, but not necessarily higher density than what is in the consistent or the properties that are abutting this as well. So if you looked at that one map that Tina had, it was very clear what's in the area, and it is high density. So it's not going to make everybody happy. Rezoning never does make everybody happy, but it does fit the mission of what the general plan and the council has asked us to do. So I think we did the right job tonight. Any other things that we want to talk about at future meetings?
I just want to say that because I am new to this sort of process, that the whole reason I got involved was because there was an issue in my neighborhood, we'll say. And I think that it's unfortunate, but maybe at this level, you lose sight that the people that were in the audience tonight don't necessarily understand how the process always works. And I think that they feel like their voices are not heard because you have all these really smart people making general plans and infill areas and all of these things that they might not even know what the general plan is. I suppose it's complacency in some ways, but I think that you have to hear their frustrations as well. And I don't think that a lot of these projects that have come up are in keeping with this community, the size of the community, the direction that I'd like to see the community go. And I'm not alone in that frustration. You know, I mean, I hear it from everyone, and it's not an anti-growth idea. It's just that sometimes maybe there's other ways. If there was another place for that development, like she was saying, I feel like it would be a quality development and something, but I don't think that specific area. And yes, zoning changes happen, but we just allowed that zoning change to happen.
Chair and Commissioner Kennedy, just keeping on topic for future meetings, you would like future agenda items to address informing the public of some of those issues?
I don't know how you address.
I think what she's talking about is, you know, we spent a lot of time doing the general plan, and the reason we had so many hearings and presentations in this body, as well as the council had, was really trying to get the public informed and participating in how that general plan comes to be. Unfortunately, as you see tonight, and as you saw when we discussed the Westcott property, when you have a zone change that goes from a low or a medium density to a much higher density, you know, it brings out the neighbors, and people then all of a sudden decide that it's time to get involved because it affects their view shed or affects the property across the street from them, instead of the people that have come from time to time and sit in this audience and watch these meetings so that they're better informed about everything that we're doing. And so I think the frustration with us is how do we help the council? How do we help staff make more informed citizens so that when these things come before the community, they're maybe a little better prepared to speak to those changes and help us make those decisions? Because I think she's right. As I think people in the audience sat there and said we're going to make a decision that wasn't in favor of them one way or the other, and that they weren't heard. They definitely are heard, but that wasn't part of their concerns, weren't necessarily part of our discussion or part of our decision. Our decision was truly about taking two misaligned parcels, creating one single parcel and putting an R3 designation on it, which opened the door for higher density. That's all we were really doing tonight. So
Yeah, but in our packets, we got pictures of these buildings that were going to be put up on those properties.
Possibly.
Right, possibly, but.
So anyway, I think that's
Nevertheless.
that's the frustration, is how do we maybe make these meetings more informational for the public so that they can participate more fully?
I think that gives us a lot for future agenda topics, and that informs, it gives us a lot of room to work for those goals.
Great, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Any other items that you would like to talk about in the future? I know one is I know everybody's busy. I'm not trying to lay more work on you, but I really would love to get that list of projects that have been approved and where they stand. I recently saw a project get a for sale sign placed on it, and I'm not quite sure if it's been withdrawn completely and now the property's up for sale, or if they're trying to sell it with the process that we did. And that was the bungalows on Main. So anyway, it'd be nice if we could get that list updated and back into the packet at some point, so we kind of have a better idea of when these projects come up, just what we're looking at that is or is not moving forward. That's all I have.
Isn't there a spot, I thought I had found it after last month's meeting, that had all the open building permits and the stages?
It's an item that they.
It was on the website somewhere. I had found it. I don't know if it was actually on the city website or on the planning and zoning website. It had all of the units, the number of units per development that had been approved, and the open building permits, et cetera.
I haven't found that, so.
Do you know where that is, Tina?
So I can look into that. I know that we have some outdated reports on our website. We're currently in the process of moving to, or actually we already just moved to a new permitting system. So our reporting capabilities out of the old system and the new system, so we're getting our reporting back up using the new system. And it is information that's useful to other departments and divisions, so we're just looking for best how to get that done. There's also part of the commitment that we did for the design review was to put up any approvals that we had approved administratively on our website. We haven't had any yet since the ordinance has been approved that fall under the new code. So when those are approved, we'll be adding those to our website.
All right.
So just to wrap up the future topics component of this, it sounds like we could bring back future topics that inform both the commission and the public on different procedures that are involved in the Planning and Zoning Commission process, and the
Great.
planning process, excuse me.
Perfect, thank you. If there's no other items for future meetings, I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We got a unanimous that time. Thank you very much.
I think you were here when that was passed out.